What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Celtics Daily Show with me, Mike Zakarian. And the good news is that the energy is a bit more positive than if you were here yesterday, right? Vibes are a little bit better, much easier turning the camera and the lights on in the morning after a Celtics W. But before we get into last night's stuff and then kind of poke around at the trade market, let me just remind the people, hit the subscribe button, like the video. Liking the video helps a lot too. So if you're still on the fence on the subscribe, hit the like, and then of course get involved in the comments because that helps us program the show, right? We'll talk about your comments later as we get towards the end of today's video. But let's just talk about getting things right, righting the ship, because we had a little bit of that last night. Now, granted, this Celtics win came against a Memphis Grizzlies team who have the vibes of just the lowest of the low. I think we could do like a little bad vibes rankings here, because that's one of the things that I do appreciate about this Celtics team. Even though we've been struggling, the vibes have still been good. But if you look at Sacramento Kings, who we're going to talk about in a little bit, the New Orleans Pelicans, we'll put them on the list. Even the Nets and the Pacers, I wouldn't categorize as bad vibes, but holy crap, the Memphis Grizzlies, I would. Now, we were also given a gift. I think it's a gift, but Ja Morant didn't play last night, which I do feel bad if anybody had tickets to the game and you're like, oh man, I get to see Ja. That probably would have been nice, right? Ja ends up not playing, but I don't know. You could honestly argue that Ja was, that Memphis was better off not having Ja, although the scoreboard will tell you a little bit different. What I liked about last night's game is from wire to wire, Celtics let them know they were taking this W, right? They put up 34 points in the first quarter, give themselves an 8-point cushion. Then the Clampies come out. They hold the Grizzlies to just 20 points in the second quarter. They outscore them by 13. For you math dorks, what's that? 21. We have a 21-point lead at half. We beat them by 5 in the third and then by 10 in the fourth. And everybody was participating last night. One of the biggest shifts, and we kind of called it yesterday, right? After the way Jordan Walsh had been playing, Walsh moved right into the starting lineup. Now, Josh Minot didn't get the old Missoula DNP. He still got a little bit of run, but good to see Walshy be rewarded for and create the opportunity just from his play, right? In his minutes, what did he get? He got 18 minutes as the starter. He had 7 points, 6 boards, had a couple of blocks in there, fouled his ass off, had 4 fouls, but that's okay. And the minutes are going to be a little funky because, again, the final score of this one, 131-95, like the starters didn't have to get their full run. But the one thing we did see here, there was one starter that played 30 minutes, and that was Peyton Pritchard. And listen, we were giving Peyton some flack. We were giving some PP a little bit of I wouldn't say hate because we still love Pritchard, but it was a frustrating start. I actually thought there were some really good quotes from Peyton Pritchard after the game, and he referenced the time. Right after he signed his contract extension. And he said he signed his contract extension, the season got going, and he just could not hit a shot. I think he said it was like 4 or 5 consecutive games without hitting a 3. And then I think he even said he didn't even score a point in like a handful of those games. And he said it's like hard not to get down in those moments, but you have to believe like you're just going to get through this and get to, like you plateau a little bit, you get to the next hump, right? And he said, and then he started playing better, and he was relying on that, the memory of that, and the moment of that, the muscle memory, if you will, to get through this next hump. And last night, the ball started falling a little bit for him, right? So he went 5 for 10 from 3, all right? 5 for 10. Now, that is the Peyton Pritchard we're talking about, kid. Finished the game with 24 points, 9 dimes, 6 boards, 8 for 15 shooting. Like an efficient night from Pritchard, and he hasn't done anything efficiently so far this season. So that was really good to see. And honestly, I love that Missoula just kind of let him go a little bit. He knew that Pritchard had been searching for the shot and trying to get back into that rhythm, saw that it was there a little bit, gave him some extra run, let him see the ball go in, like let that mentality build, right? So that was really good to see from Pritchard. Hopefully he can build on that. JB's totals are going to go down, right? His not his efficiency, but his averages will come down because he only played 25 minutes, but still shot 50% from the field, 8 for 16. He had 19, 6, and 6. Derek White was doing Derek White stuff. He went 3 for 6 from 3. Look at the starters from 3. 3 for 6, 2 for 5, 5 for 10, 1 for 3. Come on, Celtics basketball, baby. White had 20 points, 5 boards, 4 dimes, 2 steals, a block, and a partridge in a pear tree. Keita, 13 and 8. He did some good stuff out there too. You could tell this game got out of hand because Chris Boucher got some minutes. And can I just a brief pause? I thought Chris Boucher was going to be balling this year. I was very excited about Boucher. Just from a fantasy point of view, I was like, oh, Boucher's going to cook. I'm very surprised to see that he can't get his ass on the floor, but it was good to see it last night. Sam Hauser did not get the memo that we were hitting threes last night. He went 1 for 7, so that was kind of a bummer, Sammy. I'm sure everybody in the locker room after the game is like, "Yeah, let's grab a beer, high five, we crushed." And poor Sam is like, "I mean, I'll get the beer, but it's not because I'm happy, It's because I'm sad." Which you shouldn't drink because you're sad, and some of you shouldn't drink when you're happy either. And now we're just taking a pause. Luka Garza gave us 14 off the bench. He was the only starter in double dig. Simons had 6.7 dimes, 4 boards. But let's look at some of the bigger stuff here, right? So the Celtics corralled 58 rebounds. They outboarded the Grizz 58-41 and 18-15 on the offensive glass. They were just great. They were just great. Now, the starting 5 for Memphis was something. It was Jaren Jackson Jr. Okay, yeah. Jalen Wells, sure, fine. Jock Landale, who? Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and Vince Williams Jr. So, I mean, it was a tough scene for them. If you did go to the game, you get to see Cedric Coward play the rookie. I do really like his game. He had a bad shooting night. But Celtics get that win. They moved to 6-7. Still one game under 500. But we got 2 games coming up with the Brooklyn Nets here soon. This is just great, man. It was nice to not have to sweat one out, right? I feel like a lot of the games recently just absolutely just barn burners all the way to the end, and then we get real frustrated when we can't execute down the stretch. So to have to if we could just take the stretch out and you don't even have to think about it, that's great. I love that. Good home win for Boston, who are now at 500 at home. They're 3-3. That's good to see. Grizzlies fall to 4-9. And I mean, I think like we're going to start talking about the trading block here in a little bit. I think we start with Memphis, and I do think there's a chance that both Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. are going to be available because I don't know. And I don't know what Ja's trade value even is. I know we've talked about him a little bit here, but if we look at contracts, I'm going to go over to Spotrac now. If we look at the contracts for Memphis and just pairing them to Boston, and again, I'm not saying this is what we should do. Because I'm actually team let's not trade for Ja if we look at the Grizzlies contracts, right? So Ja has another year on his deal. He's making like $40 million a deal. For a year, excuse me. Jaren Jackson Jr., however, just signed an extension. He's making $35 this year, and then over the next 4 years, $205 million. So he's about to get expensive. But I will be honest, man, like Triple J's game can be infuriating at times, right? Because sometimes it doesn't seem like I think you're expecting a little bit more from him offensively. He doesn't get a ton of rebounds for his size, whatever. But man, that is somebody that I'd be willing to make some moves for, Triple J, only because of the style this Boston team plays or likes to play anyways, right? Someone that he can play the 4 next to a big. He can play the 5. He can shoot the ball. Like, he's not an insane three-point shooter, but let's pull up some of his career numbers here from three-point land. Also, just like rim protection, like he's a shot blocker. He's shooting just under 40% from 3 this year, and he's a career 35% shooter from 3. But I believe it's gotten better every single year, just about, right? Yeah. So he went 37% or 38% last year, just about 40 this year. Really expensive, though, because he just signed that max extension. If we're just talking about guys that could be available that we would be interested in, I would put Jaren Jackson Jr. way ahead of Ja. I don't know if that's considered splashy enough or whatever. I don't know. But I think, again, the combination of being able to defend at a high level, to offensively still, like, I think if he's your third option, hell yeah. I think when you see him have to be like a first option last night, that's not as enticing. He can also handle the ball a little bit. Like we've seen him bring it up for Memphis, do a little facilitation. He had to do a lot of that because Desmond Bane and Ja Morant kept missing games last year. Ja, on the other hand, I'm not really interested in that. I'm not interested in that. No, thank you. I just think there's just too much that comes along with it. I don't think it's worth it. But if we look at like the standings a little bit, and there's just a couple of teams I want to highlight because I think we're going to get, especially as we get closer to Christmas, we get to that December, I think it's either the 10th or the 15th. That's when a lot of guys who have signed recent contracts can be officially on the market. And we're getting more and more buzz about teams that are willing to make some moves here. And another one of them that is a little bit splashy, will stay in the East, is LaMelo Ball. LaMelo, though, one of the weird things about him right now is that his ankle is just not healing, right? So he missed a ton of time last year with this ankle injury. Didn't have any setbacks in the offseason, didn't have surgery or anything. It seemed like he was good to go. Seemed like he was good to go coming into camp. And now it's just kind of bothering him. Now he's still got he signed that extension, so he's got a total of 3 years, $130 million left on the deal. But when he's out there, and I think playing in a good system, somebody that can, some of his shot selection, not the best, but can hit the three ball, just like an insane passer for his size. Defense obviously leaves a lot to desire, but I do think that's going to be a name you're going to see floated around there. I don't think that necessarily fits for us long term. And honestly, I don't even know if the Celtics are going to be open to making moves like this. Because I guess one thing that's going to be interesting as we get closer to the trade deadline, the language around Boston's front office and how they're approaching it. But anybody that they go after has to either basically has to already be extended. Because, again, the trade that you make is not going to be for this season. It would be for next season. And I agree with what a lot of the chat has said over the last, couple of days, that the focus should probably be on a 4 or a 5, right? Not necessarily another guard. So let's move away from LaMelo, but I do think that is somebody that's going to be on the trading block. Brooklyn Nets, I don't know how long Michael Porter Jr. is going to be there. He's got great size, somebody that rebounds the hell out of the ball. And I know, I'm guilty of this too, or not even guilty of it, but I thought that he benefited from having Nikola Jokic just dime him up every day, right? And now Jokic isn't there. MPJ is still putting up pretty good numbers for Brooklyn. But that being said, I don't think I want the energy of a Michael Porter Jr. on this team, even though his size, being a 7-footer that can shoot a high 30s, even 40% from three on volume. This year, he's averaging 23 and 7 for Brooklyn, but I don't think so. But I do think Brooklyn is going to be a seller as we get closer. And then the Pacers, I don't know. I don't think the Pacers have anybody you want to trade for. And the Wizards are like Middleton and CJ McCollum, so that's not really going to do it, right? But when we go to the West, the Clippers are in a weird spot now. They're 3-8. They just lost Bradley Beal for the entire season. He has some hip thing that's not going. Kawhi, they expect to be back at some point. But I wonder if they continue to go this direction, although I don't see them tanking. But what's crazy about the Clippers, okay, the Clippers are 3-8. I don't know if you know this. Their first-round pick is going to the Oklahoma City Thunder this year. How do they keep getting away with this? The OKC Thunder, who are 11-1, have yet to have their second-best player play basketball this season, are going to get another lottery pick from the Clippers, who are my age, right? But the Kings, I think, are the most fascinating one because they lost a crazy game last night where they lost by 30-plus points to the Atlanta Hawks at home. Just crazy business. Now, the Kings are on a back-to-back, so you give them a little bit break. Give them a break there. They're an older team, too. But they've already made it known that they're willing to move off some pieces and check the trade market. Now, DeRozan and Levine, no thank you. I think DeRozan's game is great. I like it. Doesn't make sense with Boston. Levine, I just am never going to be interested in. No thank you. But Domantas Sabonis, I'm pretty curious to see what his trade value would look like. Sabonis. All right, we made the Sabonis joke once. We don't have to do it twice. His deal looks like this the rest of the way. He's got 2 years, $42 million left, or 2 years, $94 million left. So basically 42 and then 40 plus. I don't want to call him a rim protector, right? No one's being like, oh, hell yeah, we got some staunch defense here with Sabonis. But man, having a facilitator that can play a big man. I mean, he doesn't really stretch. He can hit a jump shot, not really a three-point shooter, obviously, but just an elite rebounder. I'll be curious to see what the price point is. Is Sacramento trying to get future assets and picks? Because they basically said we want to take it down to the studs and we're happy to rebuild. So I think Sabonis is a name that we should pay attention to. That to me is the most intriguing of names we know if we're trying to be building to be ready to win next year. I do like his game. I still think you would need Keita to develop as a staunch defender. We need his defense, right? Because Sabonis isn't going to give you that defense. So, but man, as an offensive unit, having Sabonis, Tatum, and Brown, and if you're able to flank them with elite 3-point shooting, Whew, that would be fun. That would be fun. I like that. Looking at the rest of the standings, I think the Pelicans are another team to watch too. I don't know what the hell they're going to do. I really don't. Zion, they still have Zion under contract, but his deal's insane where, like, at any given point, they can just say, like, they can just stop paying him, essentially. They've got all these clauses on there if they, like, wanted to cut him or whatever. But Zion's got 2 years, $87 million left. He's not. That one doesn't make sense. But I would keep an eye on Trey Murphy, on Herb Jones. I think those two guys are. I mean, Trey Murphy, I think would take. It would be very expensive to go get him. Herb Jones, I don't know how expensive it would be. I really like his game. His contract's beautiful too. He's basically $13-14 million a year, and is like a four. I think he's got a 4-year deal right now. He plays elite defense. He's not an awesome 3-point shooter, but he can knock down the three. What's his rates looking like this year? He's young too. Averages just 10 points, right? But shoots 43% from three on low volume, but still. And the defense is what I would like. And he would make a ton of sense next to Tatum and Brown. I think he'd be a little bit more expensive pick-wise and, like, future asset-wise, but I love Herb Jones. And I do think the Pelicans are going to be sellers too, even though they don't have their first-round pick because they did the worst trade of all time last year at the draft, right? And then, the Mavericks, I don't know. I mean, Daniel Gafford is just another name we'll throw out there. I think Gafford is the most likely one to go. Anthony Davis, we talked about yesterday. I don't even know how they're going to trade him. There was a report that came out that Dallas was like, yeah, we're gonna look. We're gonna talk with AD and see what happens. We'll see what happens. I just don't know who's gonna pay that money, and then they're gonna have to extend him. Like, no, thank you. But for me, Sabonis, I want to keep an eye on. I think Sabonis is pretty interesting. For the Pellies too, like Herb Jones would be pretty fun, and then Daniel Gafford. Those are like the three that I think would be exciting and then sort of cost effective, right? Sort of cost effective. Those are the ones that I like the most. Just a couple of notes from last night, and then we'll get to some of your comments from yesterday, and we'll get on out of here. I don't know if you guys saw Jokic. Jokic was nuts last night. Yeah, this was the late game, so maybe you didn't see it. Jokic had, I want to say he had like 32 points at halftime. Bro. So just real quick, running through this. Jokic's line last night, 55 points, 12 boards, 6 dimes. Just like, and I think how many minutes did he play? I think he played a lot in the third quarter. What was his minute total? In 34 minutes, he went 18 for 23 from the field, 5 for 6 from 3. This dude, oh my God, he's insane. Wemby and Castle both had triple doubles last night, but they actually lost to the Spurs because Chef Curry on a back-to-back, as the Warrior vibes were in the toilet, he dropped 46 with a big road win. The Suns beat the Mavs last night. Book cooked. Was there any other big lines that we missed? Jalen Brunson got hurt in a loss. So did Paolo Banchero. Both Paolo and Brunson lost in this game between the Magic and the Knicks. Brunson was in a boot last night after the game, so something to pay attention to. All right, let's get to some of your comments from yesterday. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, for the love of God, feel free. Please do it. And then also like the video. All right, our guy Edgar Snake said Anthony Davis, ? And then said, that's me jumping off a cliff. There we go. That's good. A lot of conversation about the Simons Peyton Pritchard stuff, right? Kevin Sullivan was saying I'm a huge Peyton Pritchard fan, but at some point, summarizing, at some point maybe we do have to make the move. It was good to see that. Michael Lauger was saying got to convince Brown to stop forcing his offense. I didn't think JB's been forcing. Like, I honestly thought he could be taking more shots. I thought JB has been incredibly efficient. I've really liked his play. And then Chris said having zero expectations. Chris Mellon said having zero expectations of this team makes the game sort of relaxing to watch for a change. All I have to worry about is making sure you get those daily hype points. Hell yeah, dude. Chris gets it. Chris freaking gets it. All right. Coach Dreadhead said, I think we would pull off a 3-team trade by moving Simons and Hauser with some picks to acquire Sabone. Bench may be slim, but going 8 deep in a rotation would give us some motion into the playoffs. And who knows? Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I don't know. If that works financially? Yeah. I mean, I'd be open to that. So if it's Simons and Hauser, and if the picks aren't like, it can't be this year's first. You know what I'm saying? And then AJB said, losing isn't fun, but if you look at this roster, this is kind of where the Celtics should have been expected to be. Yeah, you and me both, man. We both drank the preseason Kool-Aid. We did. All right. Anything else here that we missed? John Williams saying Missoula is not a good coach. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not there yet. I'm not ready to just like be like this is Missoula's fault. Maybe he could be doing some things better, but also like, look at the roster he's been given. I don't think this team is built in the same way that others are, which, what a take by Zakarian. All right, guys, we're going to call it there. Appreciate you guys as always for watching. Hit the subscribe on the way out. And as Chris said, hit those hype points. You know what I'm saying? Get those hype points out there. We'll see you next time.